Welcome back to the GTS-V build. It's been a while, I know. I had a long streak of unfortunate events and a lot of frustration with this build in general. So what basically happened started the frustration of this build and made it basically snowball into what it is now. It's still not an insane build, but it was more than I wanted to do. I was scrolling through Facebook one day and I typed in the old owners of this same car on Facebook, and I saw he had the same exact issue I ended up having, and the reason why I tore down the car, which sparked a big spark of frustration. And so I said, okay, well, I'm tired of people looking at the car thinking it was his old car because it was canned and everything. I'm gonna make it my own. And it's sort of what I've done with a lot of my cars. My Kooky, for instance, was a members of the community we were in. It was his car. Everyone saw the car, said, hey, that's his old car. And now it's completely changed. I mean, when people see it, they obviously know it's my car. So going back to this, I was like, you know what, I need to make it my car. I'm tired of people saying, hey, isn't that so-and-so's old car? So now it's completely changed. Next thing on my frustration was I went ahead and dropped the old aluminum 6.0 to the machine shop. They went ahead and honed the whole block. Sorry, I went blank there. They honed the whole block. Everything looks good. I went to go ahead and build the long block, or the short block. I started installing all the pistons. And then I noticed on one of the cylinder walls there's a big scratch. And I was like, oh, what is this? Another thing going wrong, right? And turns out to be one of the ring lands on the suppression ring land actually broke off the piston. I don't know if it was for me or whatever, but the oil suppression ring was just, the new one was a little messed up from the piston ring being cracked. As you could see, I'll try to get a picture of it later. You can see there's a little crack on it, and what do you know, it scratched the block. So I was a little butthurt there, but granted, thankfully my dad has a old school hone, so we honed the cylinder for quite a while. We got it to where it was decent. The scratch wasn't big or anything. And then we went ahead and said, okay, well, everything's great, let's throw the motor together. We started throwing the motor together, and I don't know what happened, what we did wrong. Maybe we used the wrong transmission bolts, which I think is probably gonna be the ultimate culprit of that. But it cracked the block on the rear headset. So it was fueled with frustration at that point, and then I said, well, I overbuild every car I own. So what's the difference with this build? Let's just overbuild it. So I went ahead and bought a 6.0 brand new bear block from Summit Racing, which was great. I just reutilized everything but the main caps from my old block onto this one. And then I said, let's just go ahead and not really ball out, because I really wasn't balling out. I said, let's do a smart build. Let's overbuild for the power that we'll probably never achieve, but at least we'll have the safety and the reliability of what I'm buying. So went ahead and bought everything ARP. So we have ARP main studs, the ARP cam conversion bolts. We have ARP rod bolts, ARP head bolts, which may be the limiting factor in the future. I don't know, I've never heard anyone having problems, but I don't know a lot of people with major power, and if they are in major power, they're not in LSs. So here we are now. The block is brand new, everything works perfectly, everything looks great. So I guess we'll start with the bottom. Just obviously all new bearings. We have a BTR stage 2 positive displacement cam, which may be my limiting factor in power in the future. And maybe if I step it up, I'll get better. But I think paired with a ZL1 converter, it's gonna give me the best daily driving feel, since that's what this car is. We'll end up seeing on that. But BTR, really everything, valve springs, push rods, all that. True Union upgrade, which was, I just moved from the old heads because these are not the same head. These heads are Summit Racing CNC LS3 heads. So I'm hoping that provides me even more power. I mean, I assume it would, just more airflow. But basically the block it's just built for reliability. So you go with the things you trust. You know, ARP is great. You know, BTR is great. Then the Summit Racing LS3 in the block, I'm pretty sure it's the same GM block as brand new, so I don't really have to worry much about that. But in all, it's the build of overbuilding for power. Now, when I walked in this, I said, you know, anything over 500 is great. And then I started looking into it and I said, 500, man. Going with an iron block, putting an LSA on top of it, that's gonna be pretty heavy, honestly. Coming from what it used to be, aluminum block with just a regular LS3 intake manifold. Now I'm putting a supercharger on top and putting an iron block in. So I said, okay, well, let me just build small first. So this is a small build. When I put it in the car and everything, I'm probably just gonna be running, I'm not entirely sure on the pulley size yet. By the looks of it, it's gonna be a 2.4 upper pulley and the stock lower. And I'll mess around with it. If I really just wanna make 600 at this point, which is only 100 more horsepower, but I say only lightly. So it may be harder to achieve, I'm not entirely sure. Looking at everyone's build, everyone runs different numbers. It's kind of hard to understand the whole supercharger thing because I come from NA and turbo, so it's a little bit easier. You want more boost with a turbo, it's easy to put a bigger spring in there or run a boost controller. With these, I kind of don't understand them yet because I haven't done a lot of research. But the cool factor is I do want to run E85 and pump gas. So the 85 I think will get me to that number, if not shoot me farther up. But this video is mainly going to be about, come here, sorry, the shot dog ran in here. This video is mainly going to be like me putting the motor in. I want to do a time lapse, and then the next video I want to talk about my fuel system. So just a brief rundown on that to kind of get caught up to where we're at. I said, basically, same thing with this. I want something that's reliable, I want something I have room to grow with, and I just want something I can trust. And doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of people, with the G8s at least, a lot of people try to run E85 on a returnless setup, and it works sometimes, and some people it doesn't. So I said, I want a setup I can run true E85 and never have a problem with. Yeah, and then I started looking at pricing with that, and I wasn't gonna say, no, because I don't have the money. Obviously, if I'm gonna build a car, I'm gonna build it right. So I contacted G8 only. They went ahead and hooked me up with a complete fuel system. Great guys, they worked with me. The price was outstanding. I had no problems with that. Really great customer service, but I'll get really deep into the fuel system next. But it is a 4 fuel system, dual wall-bore pumps, ID 1050s injectors. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to take some time because I still need to come up with a heat exchanger setup and all that. But for the most part, the big money items are actually here now. So I attacked the fuel system next after I kind of built the motor because I wanted to get the really big pricey things out of the way. But the videos should be starting to come really soon. I'm gonna try to drop a couple a month. I wanna have this car done in 2 months, depending on how everything goes. But it should be fun. But from now, I'll try to put the time lapse in here. If I don't put the time lapse in here, it's because something went wrong. But hopefully we're done going wrong and we're starting to turn around and go in the right direction because this build has been very anticipated and I really miss having a big stand as a daily. So yeah, it's gonna be nice. I'll see you next time then.